For the next 60 minutes, we're going to inspire and uplift our listeners. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731. 5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. It's time for Positive Impact Now. And here are the hosts, Judge Angel and Mike Faust.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is your Positive Impact Now. Court is back in session. We're ready to go. I'm Judge Angel, and this is a show about you and for you. You are invited to suggest topics and maybe even be a guest yourself that will inform and inspire others. Leave your ideas and suggestions on our website, which is www.positiveimpactnow.com. Like us on Facebook and share the information from the show with your friends and family. Our goal is to increase our wisdom and daily success. Today we are highlighting one of our favorite charities, the Las Vegas Philharmonic Guild. And we also have a gentleman who's going to share a life experience that's become a daily success story. And finally, we're going to have some financial tips for those listeners who have reached a point in their relationship where the D word might be the only option. So we're so glad you're with us and hope you will stay with us. Send your comments to our website, and we are ready to entertain. We have a wonderful guest here in the studio today. She is the president of the Las Vegas Philharmonic Guild. Good morning, Miss Anna Kabadian. There we go.
That was very close. Well, thank you so much, Angel. How are you?
I'm just wonderful, and I'm so pleased and honored that you came into the studio today to talk with us about your organization. What does the Philharmonic Guild do?
The Philharmonic Guild is the fundraising arm of the Las Vegas Philharmonic Orchestra. We actually are comprised of over 300 volunteers, truly dedicated volunteers who donate their time and efforts to raise funds for the Philharmonic.
Excellent. First of all, let's start at the beginning. We want to congratulate you on your election to the position of president.
Well, thank you so very much.
Yay!
Thank you so
it.
very much. We have a board of directors that is comprised of wonderful, very strong ladies who have been with the Philharmonic and with the Guild almost from the beginning. And I'm absolutely honored to join them, and I'm the baby of the group, so to speak. So I'm truly honored. But the Las Vegas Philharmonic Guild is just an amazing organization. We do fundraisers for the Philharmonic Orchestra, and have donated for the past 9 or 10 years. We've donated over $300,000 to the orchestra, so the music will go on.
How long has the Guild been around to help the orchestra?
The Guild actually was founded in 2003, so it's been 10 years.
Nice.
Which is a nice segue to what I would like to talk about today mainly, which is our gala, which is coming up on the 21st of September. It's to celebrate our 10th year anniversary. It's going to be on top of the Riviera Hotel. It's going to be a wonderful, very elegant event, and all of you are invited there.
Wonderful. You know, our audience, we love to go. Now, that is Saturday, September the 21st.
21st, and we have a VIP cocktail hour, which is going to be from 5 to 6, and it's very limited. Actually, we only had about 75 tickets for that, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's tickets already had been sold out.
Nice.
It's
That's
going to
a
be
positive impact.
absolutely, absolutely. We're thrilled. I mean, this is thanks to the ladies who work so hard at it, and that's going to be in the Frank Sinatra suite, which is again on top. It's very close to the banquet hall. If you cannot make it to that, of course, starting at 6 o'clock, we have a 6 to 7. We have champagne reception and silent auction. And again, talk about our board of directors, ladies that have worked so hard. I was just there yesterday for the packaging, and they were getting ready. They worked so hard, and we had amazing amount of auction items that people just donated. They're just pouring in, which is we are just so happy. And there are few items that I don't want to mention. It's a surprise. They're very unique prizes and auction items that are going to be there as well.
Wonderful. Now you talk about your board and how great the ladies are. That is how I became aware of the Philharmonic Guild, was through one of your board members.
Absolutely.
Tony Pattengale. She's a dynamo.
Absolutely. She certainly
we love
is.
Tony. We love Tony.
Yes, we all do. And she just became actually, she was elected to vice presidency.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
Yes. And we
Wonderful.
have
You
Juliana
guys
McCree.
together. What a team.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful team, and I'm just absolutely blessed to be part of that.
I know that's so true. Now, the gala is coming up September 21st, which is a Saturday. There's a reception at 5, which has basically been sold out.
Yes.
But at 6 o'clock, people can still get tickets. Come at 6 for an auction and
Absolutely.
cocktails.
It's going to be champagne reception from 6 to 7, and then at 7 o'clock we'll start our dinner, and there's going to be dancing. We have a wonderful orchestra that is going to play. So it's going to be, well, black tie is optional, but it's going to be very elegant with all the ladies in their best evening gowns and all that. And we have some surprises as well, and we have Las Vegas showgirls over there too that are going to be part of it. So it's going to be a whole production.
Well, we may have former Mayor Oscar Goodman there. The showgirls are coming. There's some kind of tie there. Can anyone in our audience become a member of the Guild?
Absolutely, and we do encourage. It's such a wonderful and warm and family-oriented organization. All they have to do is, if you just want to become a regular member, it's $25 a year to become a member for a single person. If you are a couple or two of you together, it's $40 for the whole entire year.
Very reasonable. Now, Anna, we're missing the point. Where can the listeners hear the orchestra? They're helping the Guild, and we're raising money. We're doing a good job. But I think most of them also want to hear the orchestra.
Oh, absolutely. The orchestra plays. Actually, we have a fantastic, magnificent venue, actually, that listeners might know already. It's the Smith Center. The orchestra used to play at the UNLV building. However, as soon as the Smith Center was built, now that's the venue for the orchestra. And again, it's a magnificent venue. If you have not been there, you have to go. And by the way, just to segue, it's on the 28th of September, just a week after our gala. It's going to be the opening night for the orchestra. It's opening of the season.
Okay, so the gala is a preview. Get ready. Nice, nice.
We have to fund the orchestra, so
okay.
so
Make
they
sure
can
everybody
play.
gets paid.
Absolutely.
Well, is it all right? What we'd like to do is to put your website on our website, which is www.positiveimpact. That's IMPACT now.com. And people could link on our website and go directly to your life. And I'm thinking it would be nice if someone wants to make a donation to you guys.
Anytime. Actually, we have a wonderful program it's called Music Angel Fund.
Oh, I like that.
In honor of you, yes. This is to help cover operating costs of the Guild so that we're able to optimize the financial assistance we give to the orchestra and its programs. Individuals are more than welcome to donate, and again, it's called Music Angel Fund. And it's very easy to remember since we're with Judge Angel.
what's so wonderful? I've heard people say, well, Vegas doesn't have any culture. Yes, we do.
My.
We have it. Now, with the challenge is to support it, to make sure the funding is there, and we support the event. So that's Saturday, September 21st. At the Riviera.
The Riviera, top of
at
the
the
Riviera.
We'll put a phone number on our website.
Wonderful.
You tell us which one at a later date, but we'll do that tonight.
Certainly.
And
Thank you.
we asked everyone that can hear our voice, support this wonderful organization.
Absolutely, and become members.
That's right.
Well,
Become
thank
members.
you so much. It was a pleasure to see you again.
Oh, thank you
Such
for
wonderful.
joining
And
us.
congratulations on your show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the success.
God's will. We are so thankful to you. All right.
Pleasure.
That is Anna
Kabadian.
Kabadian. Okay, I learned that.
Very
I've only
well.
known her, what?
It just rolls
a
off
year.
the tongue.
Kabadian. Very beautiful name.
Thank you.
She's with the Las Vegas Philharmonic Guild, and we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, good. That remember the saying we always talk about is, to whom much is given, much is required. Thank you, Anna. We'll take a short recess at this time.
As internet technology advances, so does the threat of cybercrime. And the instant you go online, you become vulnerable to dangers such as identity theft, computer viruses, phishing, spyware, and more. In times like these, we must all protect ourselves from cybercrime. Antivirus software, firewalls, and security patches are just the beginning. Never open suspicious emails, only navigate to trusted sites, and change your passwords every 90 days. Back up important files to external storage devices. Tell anyone who uses your computer to be vigilant when downloading from the internet. Keep your kids safe on the internet. Teach them never to give out personal information or post information about their school or extracurricular activities. Installing parental control software and monitoring their computer are all good ways to prevent cybercrime. To learn more about cybercrime, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Positive Impact Now. Continue. Here again, Judge Angel and Mike Faust.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. This is Positive Impact Now. We are so blessed. We have another great guest in the studio. This is a gentleman who refused to give up. You know how Winston Churchill said, never, ever, 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 ever give up. Well, this man took that attitude. He said, defeat is not an option. The one and only Big Daddy Vince, Mr. Vincent Rader.
Hello, Judge. Thank you for having me on the show.
And you know, I have to comment to you, you have such a smooth, relaxing voice. Anybody that hears your voice knows, oh, that's got to be Vince.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, I alluded to something, a blessing that has taken place in your life. Would you tell us what you have been able to accomplish?
Yes, as a result of the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous and other anonymous programs, and the God of our understanding, I was able to accomplish 28 years of being drug and alcohol free.
28 years. That's awesome. That's
Thank you.
awesome. Now, were you in AA all that time?
Yeah, majority of the time I went through an intense treatment program, and also went through an intense extended treatment program for a year, and then the rest is meetings and success and everything else.
Amen. Now, when we talk about excessive drinking of alcohol, how did you get started with the drinking of the alcohol, and how did it progress?
Started off as a young age in high school, drinking at parties, and as a result of that, escalated to further things as an adult.
Yeah, trying to impress the girls and dance.
Impressed the girls. Matter of fact, I was a shy little guy, and when I took one of those drinks or something, that was it. I was off and became a man and everything.
I think many people can relate. Uh, when did you decide, or when did you notice that there was a problem?
Yes, it was when I was married, and I was about 23 or 24, and I sat in the middle of the floor, and I was making an ample amount of money a year, and I wound up breaking a penny bank to count the pennies, to use the pennies to buy drugs and alcohol.
And did an angel above you look down and say, "What are you doing?"
I knew then, when I was sitting in the middle of the floor with all those pennies, that I had a problem.
And you also had a job, and you had a good income.
Yes, I
but you were still trying to get that extra money on the side that wouldn't be noticed by your wife, that you were spending that kind of money.
That's right.
If there's anybody out there that hears our voice, you know who you are. This might be for you. I always say, we say there are no accidents.
No, it's not.
You know, it's just God's way of staying anonymous.
That's right.
So it's every story helps somebody else when they hear it. Well, that's when you noticed you had a problem.
Right.
When did you decide you were going to address the problem?
It took about a week later, and I checked myself in a rehab center, alcohol and drug treatment center, actually, in Hinsdale, Illinois. Greatest thing ever happened to me in my life. It taught me how to live drug-free and alcohol-free, and also taught me how to deal with life on life terms.
Beautiful.
Without the use of alcohol and drugs.
Now, were you still working and then going to this program?
I was working, and actually the reason why I found this treatment facility, because they had posted on the board all of the stuff that they cover within insurance as far as hospitals and treatment centers, and that's the first thing that launched out at me was the alcohol and treatment program.
That is
So
great.
that was God's way of, preparing me
Yeah.
at that time, because at that time I didn't think I had a problem.
I had a family situation where I had an uncle, and he started using drugs. And I remember this was back east, we had basements there.
Yes.
He would go down to the basement, and no matter what was going on, dinner, someone calling him, he would never come up. So finally, one day I went down there. I was told to go get him.
Yeah.
And he was putting a needle in his arm. And I started screaming, saying, "Oh my goodness, you've got a problem." And he told me, I'll never forget the look in his eyes. He looked me in the eye and said, "No, I do not have a problem.
Yes.
You have a problem."
Yes.
And he believed that.
Right.
And sure enough, he OD'd less than 3 months later.
Yes, that's one of the complications of addiction. You're always in denial with your family, friends, loved ones, and that's the scenario of the drug and alcohol use, being in denial.
What was your wife saying to you during this period before you got into the rehab program?
Well, she was, threatening to divorce me. She was very angry because I had took some of her items and pawned them at the pawn shop. And actually, what happened was my daughter was about 2 or 3, 4 years old, maybe, and she had learned to talk and listen. And she told my mother that, my mother and father was arguing. And my mother said, "Well, what were they arguing and fighting about?" And she said, "My daddy stole my mama diamond earrings and pawned them." And then at that point, my mother, she knew that it was time for me to, get some help. But it took a little bit longer, maybe about 6 months to a year before I finally got help.
Well, tell me this, Vince. How do you respond today when people ask you, "Hey, Vince, have a drink. Join us in a cocktail"? I call it temptation, but
Right.
like people tell me all the time, "Oh, Angel, taste this cookie. I made this cake."
Yeah. It's temptation, but you have to be very careful when you're recovering from alcohol and drugs. And you have to, I have ways when they ask me, have a drink, and I turn them down, and they say, "Well, why you don't drink?" And I told them that if I drink, I'll be on that ceiling running around up there on the top of the ceiling. So I get crazy when I drink. So I tell them I got an allergy. I'm allergic to alcohol and drugs. Vegas.
Okay. And that's a good answer. It works for all
I'd
of us.
like to chime in a little bit because I know Vince, we know Vince, and anyone who knows him will tell you, gosh, this is one of the most positive, spiritual, hardworking,
Uplifting.
great men that they know in town, period, without a doubt. And for him to have overcome this, I had no idea that this was part of his past, but I have to tell you that the strength is clear and his choices have been clear, and I'm sure it's the kind of it's a part of his makeup, the determination that's required to beat this kind of thing, that I hope our listeners can draw on and share in as far as his spirituality, his determination, and making up his mind, deciding what's important in his life, and making those decisions and sticking to it for 28 years now.
Thank you,
Wow.
Mike. Well put.
Yes,
Okay,
that's so
I
true.
couldn't put it no better.
You know, and that's a nice, more than a quarter of a decade.
Yes.
That's serious commitment.
Yes.
That is great. How many times were you in rehab?
Actually, I was about maybe 3 times, but it was at that time it wasn't rehab. It was a institution for the psychological, mind people that need help in psychiatry.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to end on a positive note because those of you listening that really know Big Daddy Vince, you know some of his Vegas history. He's awesome. He's outstanding, just as Mike said. And he's also the founder, if I'm correct, of them Stepping Cats.
Yes.
They give the great parties
Yes,
once
they
a
do.
month.
Yeah.
So this is the real deal here.
Yes. I'll
Vince,
step into the Las Vegas area along with some more people that I already started, and these guys are phenomenal. I'm a former president. I stepped down as the president, but they're still doing
great
and they're
things.
still doing
We're
good
gonna have
stuff
him on
in
the
Las
show.
Vegas.
He's coming.
Good.
All right, Vince, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we wish you continued success with your life because we know that building success is a daily process.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Positive Impact is a show about you. Do you want to improve in areas of your health, attitudes, and most of all, your enjoyment? I'm Judge Angel. Along with guest hosts, Positive Impact will bring you information, coaching, and encouragement to reach your goals. Join us every Thursday from 4 to 5 for your Positive Impact with Judge Angel.
Positive Impact every Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m.
I'm Rashida Ali Walsh, author and daughter of Muhammad Ali. My dad knows that people affected by Parkinson's disease can have meaningful and productive lives. Guidelines from the American Academy of Neurology help neurologists make early, accurate diagnoses and optimize proven and effective therapies, track how quickly the disease may progress, and tailor treatment accordingly. Believe me, early diagnosis, proper treatment, and regular contact with a neurologist can help patients improve and maintain a good quality of life. Visit AAN.com.
This is Positive Impact Now. Here again, your host, Judge Angel and Mike Faust.
Welcome back to Positive Impact Now. We are so grateful for you tuning in and listening. We have our co-host, Mr. Mike Faust, who is a business broker here in Las Vegas. And he is going to talk to us about some good news, job tips.
I've got a few things I want to talk about. Job tips is certainly one of those things, and I'm Mike Faust, a broker salesperson at First Choice Business Brokers here in town. We help people buy and sell businesses. I've been doing that now for 8 years here in our great city, and certainly I'm looking forward to an opportunity to help more of our listeners. You can certainly get in contact with me at 702-610-1966. I wanted to start off with a little update on our guest that we had on our last show, Chris Zunis, the Senior Vice President of Economic Development in Las Vegas. has helped many businesses move and relocate or open here in the city of Las Vegas. And of those, he mentioned at our request that there are a couple that are that may be looking for work or are looking for work. I wanted to mention Solar City. You can check with them for employment opportunities at www.solarcity.com and then click on We're Hiring at the bottom of the homepage. Also, we have another new company in town, bodybuilding.com. You can reach them on that website, bodybuilding.com. Click on Contact and call the main number. Now, I checked that out a little bit myself, and there's actually a chat line that you can get on that website, and they come on immediately. I actually was in communication with an individual called Revolution Rick, and so he's undoubtedly a great bodybuilder with a name like that. Now there is a link in the middle of the page there. It says View Jobs and Apply Now. That lists all the open positions within that company. He says that they are still in the process of putting their location together and do not currently have a position, but asked our listeners to check in the future.
Which company was that, Mike?
That is bodybuilding.com is the name that I have here.
Okay.
Great. Now, I also wanted to briefly mention an event that's coming up with a Dr. William Sears in town. He's an MD. His little patients call him Dr. Bill. He's the father of 8 and is the author of over 30 books on child care. Dr. Bill is an associate clinical professor of pediatrics at the University of California, Irvine School of Medicine. He's going to be in town and speaking at a one-time only speaking engagement on primetime health for all ages in Las Vegas. That's in Las Vegas at the LVH, Las Vegas Hotel, 3000 Paradise Road. That's September 20th, coming up shortly.
That's a Friday, I think.
That's on Friday, yeah. And so contact us by email through our website at www.positiveimpactnow.com, and we've actually got some tickets for some of our listeners. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we'd love to have you turn out and get some great information at that event.
Right. Like us on Facebook, too, and leave comments, and we'll give you tickets, and we've got some other gifts coming up. That was great.
Well, I wanted to add a few notes. My goal here and as a co-host is to include some items about business, as that is my career. And I wanted to point out a couple of things in recent news here. President Obama just was in Arizona and talked a little bit about real estate values. Home values are rising at the fastest pace now in 7 years. Las Vegas is certainly sharing in that to the extent that some people are becoming concerned we might hit another bubble. I don't think that's likely. I don't think it's going to spread that fast, but certainly we're seeing an increase in the home values here in Las Vegas, and that really carries over and impacts the business climate here in Las Vegas. So we're seeing a lot of activity. I'm seeing a lot of activity with my clients in looking at buying and selling opportunities in businesses here in Las Vegas. And I wanted to make the point that this is an important trend for our listeners. We want to motivate and educate you guys. We want you to be out there and getting involved. Maybe there's not a job available for you right now. Gee, have you ever considered starting your own business or buying an existing business? It's still a buyer's market. And as the economy improves, more money comes into town. You can see more construction going on in town every day here in Las Vegas. And that represents an opportunity to you, because as the people come to town to take those jobs, there's more money in the marketplace, and that's what's going to make your business successful. But you got to be in business to take advantage of it, okay?
You have to show up.
You got to show up. That's the old saying. And buying a business is not as complicated as some people might think. I have clients that will call me and ask me about the process of either buying or starting a business, and I go through some of the steps with them, and some of them feel, gee, it seems like so much. And I tell them, look, there's people all over this city and every great city in this country that come here from other countries and barely speak the language, start a business, start a little store on the corner, and someone says, gee, you can't do that, you need a license. And they say, really, where do I get that? And they go get it, okay? And they're operating the business, and someone will come in and say, well, you need a permit to do this. And they go, really, where do I get that? And they run and they go get it. And the next thing you know, they've got a successful business, they've done very well, they call me after 2 or 3 years, and I sell that business for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's called the positive impact now method. When someone says you need it, you run and get it.
You
right
just go
now.
get it, and you don't have to know everything up front about how to do everything about that business, but you've got to take that first step. And one of the first steps, I think, should be to call a business broker. Okay, give me a call. Let me help you. Let me give you the kind of information you're going to need to get started and get off on the right foot. And if you have a business, and maybe you're having an issue with that business, or maybe you're just planning, maybe you've run that business successfully for many years, but you've got an eye to the future, and you're wondering, what's my exit strategy? Every major corporation, every business plan has to have an exit strategy, and you don't have one. Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit, and let me give you some ideas of how you could best position your company, either to pass down to your kids, or maybe to sell to someone else and provide you with an income into the future. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Again, it's Mike Faust, First Choice Business Brokers, 702, I'm sorry, I forgot my own number, 702-610-1966. And I'm going to give this back to Judge Angel. She's got a very exciting guest that's got some very important information for some of you people.
Thank you so much, Mike Faust. Very good presentation, good information. I like that example you gave about people will come here, barely speak the language, get started, but they believe in themselves, you know? They're not going to give up. And they go in there. I have personal friends from Michigan that came over to the United States, got involved, slept in the back room, and became very, very successful. So you're right. And you mentioned an exit plan. And that brings us to our next guest, an exit plan. Those of you who out there who've tried talking, counseling, and most of all, praying, and things just have not gotten any better in your relationship, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't concentrate at work, what's left to do? In some cases, the last, and we do mean the last resort, is divorce. Our next guest is Miss Jacqueline Thornhill. She is the Director of Financial Services at Landmark Advisors of Nevada. She's also a certified divorce financial analyst at Landmark Divorce Solutions. I stumbled over that title, but that's because this girl is so smart. She knows so much. Thank you, Jacqueline, for joining us today. We're very pleased to have you with us.
Thank you, Judge Angel. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, our pleasure. We're talking about financial planning if you just have to get a divorce. Now, one of the questions that Mike asked earlier is financial planning necessary for people getting divorced? Is it different than regular financial planning?
Well, yes, there is a difference. When I do my regular financial planning practice, we are just projecting out, helping the individual or the couples make sure that they can retire comfortably, that they have their health care costs taken care of, that they're working toward becoming debt-free. When I work with a divorce case, we are taking the assets and liabilities of the couple, and I am doing a forward analysis on those to help them get an equitable, amicable settlement that will be good for them down the road, 5, 10, and 15 years down the road. So the question I always get asked is, make sure I will not be out on the street in 5 or 10 years, Jackie. And that's what I do.
Oh, that's a very important question. For approximately how many divorces would you guess that we have in our nation a year?
Well, I know that Nevada, and I don't know whether this statistic should be plus or minus, but we are number one. The average is 5 out of 10, and we in Nevada are 6 out of 10
Wow.
divorce.
Well, that figures so now that I think about it, right? Because so many people come here to get married. Are we the marriage capital of the world?
We are both the marriage and, the divorce capital of the world, yes.
Because I think it's easy here. I think in some other states they have so many requirements of people who want to get a divorce that they can come here and get one done in a couple of weeks. So
It's just easy here. That makes sense. Jackie, you had told me earlier that studies show that in the first year after a divorce, the wife's standard of living may drop. And
what's that all about?
Yes.
There is a common misconception out there where men going through a divorce say they're going to be taken to the cleaners by their wives. And in my experience, and I've been at this for close to 5 years now, I've never had a single case that actually stands up. So what normally happens is when I do the analysis, the men, actually their net worth will continue to rise over time, where the woman's net worth will start going whistling past zero.
So is this just a situation where the man is the breadwinner at the time of the divorce, or does this happen when both people are working?
Well, usually they're both working, and you're right. Most of the time, in the cases that I've worked, the man is the higher earning spouse. So therefore, his income can be more predictable, and usually, particularly if the wife has been a stay-at-home mom, where she's not worked outside of the house, we do have a real inequality there in their lifestyles going forward as singles, and that's what I do to help rectify that.
One of the things that you share with us is that usually there's not enough cash during the divorce and immediately after.
Yes, oftentimes when couples come to me, the first thing I'll want to do, and sometimes I get both of them to come, sometimes it's one or the other, so I'll either represent one or the other or a neutral relationship between the two. And the first thing I want to know is what is their cash resources, because they are going to need money to do to put down retainers for the professionals, myself, the attorneys, the family therapists, if we go that route. And so you need to have the opportunity to be able to cover all of those expenses. And through the process of the divorce, you have to make sure that you can cover both of those areas. And what's really not always apparent to couples is that when they're going to separate into two residences. And so they need to have enough money to be able to support both residences until we come to a resolution.
You know, you can just see the situation, you can visualize it. Here's a couple, if they're both working, it may be a bit easier just to go their separate ways, keep their own money, and maintain a semblance of the same lifestyle. But if there's one income, now that person is trying to pay for two households, two divorce lawyers. Oh my gosh.
Yes, the costs can escalate, and that's why myself and my team, we're organized to actually talk to the couple about alternative dispute resolution, which would be divorcing through the use of mediation or a collaborative process, so they aren't litigating in court. And fortunately, there's about 90% of the cases that do settle out of court, which is fortunate.
It's very fortunate. I tell everyone, if you can go the route without lawyers, you're going to fare better, just automatically, because you're not spending that money up front and having someone else basically decide your destiny.
Yeah, sometimes couples will come to me and they'll say, well, when I get into court, the judge is going to see it my way. Now, the judge is going to see it my way. Angel, you know what judges are thinking and what they have to be when they have to think about what's going on in front of them. Here at family court, there are 21 family court judges, and in any one time they have about 2,000 cases on their dockets. So if you think you're going to go to court and get more than about 15 minutes or so to state your case, you're probably not thinking in the right direction. So those are some of the things we'll tell a couple and say, let's get our feet back down on the ground. Let us help you work through the money, which is usually the most hotly contested part of the divorce. We'll come to an amicable settlement, then we can send it to the attorney for them to write it up, file it with a court, and we're done.
Well, I know most people think that when they go to court, it's really going to be a day in court.
Exactly.
It is not a day. it's called minutes.
Exactly, minutes. About 15 of them from what I usually hear from my attorney partners.
And people want to tell all the details. He this, she that. And they want to go through a long litany of details. It's not happening. You have to summarize it. And what I say to acquaintances that come to me for advice, saying they're getting ready to go somewhere, I tell them make bullet points. Make it where it's just a short phrase, because that's going to be it. But you want to give an overview of your story. What do you say to your clients who feel that they have to go through a divorce, they cannot reconcile? How would they begin to prepare?
Well, one of the things will be is that when they come to me, and sometimes I get the clients first, and I start with the most important part, usually the most hotly contested. So I need to talk about their cash reserves. I need to talk about documentation. I need current documentation on the assets and the liabilities. If there are minor children, we're going to have to be considering what the children are going to need, what their needs are presently. We're going to have to talk about the sources of income, which will be alimony and child support if there are minor children. And there's a whole lot of misconceptions around all of that. I just want to remind the listeners that Nevada is a no-fault divorce state. So if so-and-so's been out with so-and-so and whatever, that is not relevant to the case. So we have to get that out of the conversation and focus on the task of gathering all of the documentation needed for me to then begin my analysis and help then mediate the numbers between the couple so it can be filed with the court.
What if the guy is saying, look, I only make X number of dollars. Now you're asking me to split this in half. It's not going to work.
It is a bit of a challenge, and what I do with that, we're talking about the cash again, Judge, where cash flow statement. It is. And I have to have this cash flow statement. I need to know what's coming in and what's going out for each of them individually as they go forward as singles. Then I can see where they are at the bottom of each month, either their surplus or their deficit. And then, of course, the lower wage earning spouse is always wanting to know about alimony. That's some sort of a secret. But here's the deal. Alimony is all about whether there is a need. So the receiver of alimony has to demonstrate the need, and they do that with a cash flow statement. And the payor has to have the ability to make the payment. So I always say to my clients, if the payee wants $5,000 a month, the payor makes $60,000 a year. Well, we know that's not going to happen. So I'm able to get them to realistic numbers. And I do tell my clients that for about the first 2 years or thereabouts, they are going to see a dip in their lifestyle because they're taking one household and splitting it into two. It is now I and me. It is no longer we or us.
Yes, and it makes a difference, a big difference. What about the situation where there are children and one spouse, one income is paying child support, but yet the ex-spouse is feeling that that's not enough to cover expenses and necessary things for the child?
Exactly.
That's what they're gonna say.
I usually, if there are minor children, I always say, okay, we are going to get agreement where the minor children are concerned. And child support is mandated in the state of Nevada, and we have minimum guidelines. The payor of child support can always pay more if he or she would like to, but there is a minimum amount. But child support covers clothing, food, and shelter. That's it. College education, after-school activities, all these other extra things will have to be in agreement between the couple.
And that can be so difficult because all of us, unfortunately, know couples that have rifts about where the child is going to be. Even though they go to court and they have an agreement, it's written, they know what weekends, there's still situations that arise. What do you tell them to do in that situation?
Well, we do have what we call a parenting plan, and that's typically mediated by a person who specializes in parenting plans. That's not my expertise, but I do have strategic partners that do that. But mainly the parenting plan can be very, very creative. We have one right now where the family house is where the children are going to reside, and the couple has rented an apartment or a condo about a mile away, and the couple is going to move back and forth.
Oh, is that great?
Yes.
Very creative.
Very creative.
Very sensible.
Mhm.
And it keeps the kids from being uprooted. I love it.
Yes, and it keeps the kids in their school with their friends, and so we're trying to minimize the impact.
Nice.
So it's a positive impact on the children.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, one of the things that kind of occurs to me while you ladies are discussing this is that it seems to me that there's a lot of cooperation required in order for you to be able to provide the kind of service effectively that you provide. And having experienced a divorce myself in my dim and distant past, I know how difficult it can be to get either party to agree with the other party on anything. And so have you in your training or preparation to do this kind of work been given specific training on the social aspect of your business, dealing with these people in this highly emotional time in their lives, or is that something that you just kind of do naturally?
Well, I have a little bit of the skill naturally. I've been through a divorce myself, so I've walked in the shoes. I know what it takes. And there are times when the couple does starting to get a bit out of control a little bit. I do have a lot of
Nicely
Kleenex.
put.
Yes, nicely put. I always keep a box of Kleenex handy because one of them usually starts crying if it's a really sad situation. But basically when they come into my office, because I'm not a family therapist and I certainly can refer them, I do ask them for certain rules, and one thing is that they act amicable while they are here, and if we do come to an impasse, we will just stop for that day and move it on to another day so that we can fall back and regroup a little bit.
That's
Very
fantastic.
nice.
And we know our listeners here at KLAB 1230 AM radio are a positive group of people who can typically work things out, but certainly this is a situation that can happen to anyone. Now, one of the things that you briefly mentioned earlier that I wanted to visit was tracking the money. That's I can't help it. I'm involved in business, and following the money and tracking the money and having good record keeping is always important in business. And I noticed from some of your notes here that that's as equally important in your process.
Absolutely. If somebody's just the W-2 employee, it's pretty easy to track. The tax returns are easy. But I currently have a fairly complicated case going right now where there are multiple companies, multiple tax returns, and there's a lot of movement. So I have brought in a CPA specialist to take a look at that and really dive into the numbers, and she and I are going to analyze everything, and we may hire a business valuation specialist if we need to, because they are...
I'll volunteer.
You volunteer. Good. All right. Because it'll be important for the wife in this case, because she's not the higher breadwinner spouse of the two. She works as in the healthcare field. So we want to make sure that we get everything that's fair and coming to her. And so we have to dive into sometimes. And if there's any accusation of hiding assets, which do happen from time to time, we will go into a forensics with a forensic accountant, and we will go back into the past and construct a full tracing so that we can find out where those assets are.
Really?
So I think the takeaway from that is if someone in our audience is involved or suspects that they may become involved in a situation like this, maybe it's best to try to be as upfront and forthright as possible and resolve things as amicably as possible, and maybe get to your desk with their significant other and try to work something out rather than trying to hide it.
Before we conclude this, Jackie, I have to ask you, I just thought of, what about the spouse? It could be a man or a woman who knows nothing about the financials in their house. I mean, they've just lived in glory.
That's a very good question, Judge, and I'm glad you brought it up, because even as a financial planner, I have widows in front of me that say my husband handled everything. But here in the divorce, it's especially critical, because I do have, in some cases, where the woman has not ever touched the money and she has no idea. So what I usually recommend is a neutral relationship, and I let us do all the numbers and all the gathering, and all the meetings are equal with one another, so they both have input and they both hear everything that's going on. so that we can help her with her budgeting, or him, whichever it may be, going forward.
Excellent, excellent. Well, of course, this is Positive Impact Now, and we're hoping that you never, ever have to face a divorce. Or if you've already been there, it seems to be sort of a natural training ground in America, but we hope you don't have to do it again if you've been through it once. Once is enough for everybody. And we thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Thornhill. We're going to ask you to come back.
I would love to, thank you.
Because there's some more items we need to talk about. I know you help people address the areas of mixing money and emotion, not developing careers, not being ready for the past, all those kind of things. So
Exactly.
we're going to invite you back right now, and we're going to put your information on our website so that people, if they need your services, would be able to contact you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you so much. We really are very, very grateful.
My pleasure.
All right, this has been another court session, if you will, of Positive Impact Now. We are so thankful for you listening and participating with us. Oh, I've got to thank all the people that have been emailing us at angel@positiveimpactnow.com, who have gone to our website, www.positiveimpactnow.com. I'm learning all this, right? Facebook, you guys have liked us. Vegas, VegasNetRadio.com. YouTube, Positive Impact Now. God has really blessed us. We're all over the place, you know, like Russ. So we'll be very honored if you continue to support us. We have, of course, we're on every Thursday here at KLAV. That's 12:30 a.m. every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. That is Pacific Standard Time. We want to thank all of our guests that we've had today. And of course, starting with Miss Jacqueline Thornhill and her landmark advisors of Nevada. We're very grateful. She's got great information. She's got an organized team, and they come in and they really give the people that come to them support. And what I like about Jackie's organization, she's not saying you come and we gang up on the other partner. No, she's saying you come and we'll help you work with the partner. That's what's so beautiful.
And before we let Jacqueline go, I do have one other quick question for her. One of the things that occurs to me is that, before I got married, my tax situation was one way. Then you get married, your tax situation changes. Now you go through a divorce. What is the, if you could quickly maybe give us a little insight into is there something
sounds like
in
a
particular
question
to look for? That might take 3 minutes or more, but we've got a couple of minutes, and I wonder if you could just give us a quick thought on that.
Certainly. Yeah, taxes are always a big issue, and that is one of the areas that my designation works with specifically. So yes, sources of income are tax deductible and includable in income, such as alimony is, but all assets are not created equal. So for example, the equity in a home is not of $100,000 is not equal to $100,000 CD.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's a cliffhanger, folks. Let's let you know when Jackie comes back, we're going to start with the tax issue for those people having to go through a divorce. Okay, we want to thank our guests, of course, Ms. Thornhill, Vincent Rader, and of course, the Anna from the Las Vegas Philharmonic Guild. They're having their event September 21st. It's on our website, www.positiveimpactnow.com. And of course, we always want to thank our crew, Irma, Lawrence, John, Sue, and Bruce. And this is Judge Angel.
And Mike Faust.
And together, we know we can make a positive impact now. God bless you. See you next time. Hi,
I'm comedian Michelle LaFong, host of Las Vegas Backstage Talk. Las Vegas Backstage Talk is the only show that allows you to listen in on those backstage conversations with stars like Bill Cosby, Dana Carvey, Bill Maher, Debbie Reynolds, and many, many more. Please join us on Thursdays on 12:30 a.m. KLAV, or go to LasVegasBackstageTalk.com. All of our past shows are archived.
Las Vegas Backstage Talk, Thursday nights at 6.
My name is Jeffrey Burke, and I'm the host of the Staying Healthy Show here on KLAV. The Staying Healthy Show is now on KLAV 10 times per week. 10 times for you to hear the best guest in the industry and learn about the best nutritional products available for your good health. You can hear my show weekday mornings at 8 and a new show again at 5. Both shows are drive time for your listening pleasure. The show is sponsored by Stay Healthy Health Food Store, located at 840 South Rancho Drive in the Rancho Town and Country Center on the northwest corner of